Her voice was the first crack in the morning, sharp, entitled, slicing through the quiet of my inherited beach house. "David, we'll need to knock out this wall next month," my wife's mother announced, tape measure snapping back into her palm. "We'll need more space when we move in." When we move in. She said it like a fact, like a sentence passed. The guest room still smelled of salt and pine, the way it always had since my father left it to me. Sunlight caught the grains of dust drifting near the window, turning them into flecks of accusation. I watched her pace, measuring, planning, assuming. My jaw tightened. My breath stayed steady. My wife stood behind her, eyes lowered, guilt flickering across her face like a dying signal. She wouldn't meet my gaze. That was the second crack, small but fatal. Then the third, a contractor stepping through the doorway, clipboard in hand, nodding at them like he'd been invited by the rightful owners. In that moment, something cold moved inside me. Not anger, not disbelief, a quiet shift, a hinge turning, a door opening in my mind. All I said was, "Step outside." They didn't. So I pulled out the deed, my name alone, unshared, untouchable. My mother-in-law's smile collapsed. My wife finally exhaled. The contractor coughed, muttered something about miscommunication, and vanished. Later that night, when my daughter-in-law actually ordered me to wash dishes if I wanted to join Thanksgiving like family, something inside me settled. I replied with one word: enjoy. 71 missed calls later, I realized the cracks weren't new. I had simply stopped pretending not to see them. The truth revealed itself in fragments, not through shouting, not through accusations, through silence. The way my wife avoided my eyes every time her family's financial disasters came up. The way her mother spoke about my assets in casual future tense. The way conversations shifted when I entered a room. I began to notice the subtle choreography of deception. My beach house had been discussed like community property. My inheritance treated like a resource. My generosity twisted into obligation. But the betrayal ran deeper, much deeper. It was in the messages on my wife's phone she thought I hadn't seen. Her mother texting, "He won't dare refuse you. He's weak. Push him harder. He'll cave." Weak? Interesting word. There were dinner conversations where they spoke of retirement security, always glancing at me. There were sudden questions about the value of the villa I often vacationed in. There were whispers of, "He doesn't need 2 houses anyway." And my wife? She didn't defend me, not once. Instead, she rehearsed silence, letting her family shape the plan. Move into my beach house, renovate it, assume ownership by occupancy, then encourage me to sign part of it over. A slow extraction, a quiet invasion. Not loud betrayal, strategic betrayal. That was what stung. Not greed, not entitlement, calculation. The realization sat in my stomach like a stone. Not rage, not heartbreak, clarity. I didn't show it, I didn't confront them. I simply watched the story unfold, piece by dishonest piece. And with every detail, my silence sharpened. I began collecting. Not evidence for court, evidence for myself. Phone logs, bank transfers, screenshots of messages between my wife and her mother. The contractor's estimate emailed from her mother's account. The timeline of move-in referenced in a family group chat I had never been added to. My wife's saved drafts, unsent requests asking me to donate part of the property for the sake of peace. I stayed calm through all of it. Sleep came easily. My daily routine never changed. But the internal shift was absolute. At breakfast, I listened to them plan future Thanksgiving dinners in a beach house they'd never paid a cent for. I nodded. I sipped coffee. I recorded nothing on my face. While inside, a quiet storm was gathering. Then came the call from my daughter-in-law, her voice dripping with disdain. "If you want to eat with us, come wash the dishes like everyone else," she snapped. Everyone else, meaning know your place. I remembered the silence after her words, a long, clean silence. Then my answer, "Enjoy." I hung up, blocked the number, and boarded a plane the next day. Destination, Switzerland. My villa, my real retreat. The moment I posted the photos, sunlit balcony, glacial lake, stone fireplace, my phone began vibrating non-stop. Calls from numbers I knew, then numbers I didn't. Then the group chat I'd never been in suddenly trying to welcome me. 71 calls in under an hour. I turned the phone face down, let it tremble on the table, listened to the muffled, frantic buzzing. It sounded like desperation, like greed suffocating under its own weight. I felt nothing. When I returned, everything was exactly where I'd left it, except my wife's composure. She sensed it immediately. The shift, the silence, the fact that I knew. I placed the printed screenshots and messages on the table. Neat, orderly, undeniable. She stared at them, lips trembling. "I can explain." I raised a hand, just slightly. She fell quiet. Her eyes darted across every message she'd thought I'd never see, every plan she'd allowed, every lie she'd swallowed. Her mother stood behind her, face drained of color, frozen, exposed. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I simply asked, "Did you think I wouldn't understand?" Her knees buckled before she answered. Her mother stepped back, as if distance could erase involvement. The truth lay between us, silent, sharp, surgical, and for the first time, they looked small. My revenge was simple. I handed them an envelope. Not a threat, not a lawsuit, just a notice. The beach house was no longer available for anyone. Not for them, not for my wife, not for holidays, not for gatherings. I had transferred it into a trust, with one rule: only I may inhabit it. No guests, no exceptions. Their plan died in seconds. My wife's mother gasped, hands trembling like someone watching their last lifeline snap. My wife whispered my name like a plea, but I felt nothing shift inside me. Then I showed them the photos, the villa in Switzerland, the one they didn't know existed, the one they'd never touch. Their faces changed, realization settling like frost. I didn't stay to explain. Revenge was already complete. I left the house before they found new words, walked past the walls they'd wanted to tear down, past the rooms they'd measured, past the future they'd tried to carve out of me. The ocean wind felt cleaner than it had in years, light, honest. On the porch I checked my phone, more missed calls. I turned it off, not out of anger, out of completion. As I walked toward my car, one thought settled into place, quiet, final, and absolute. Greed collapses fastest when it thinks it already owns you. And I was no one's possession.